Hi, my name is Harshit, and I am a pass out of batch of 2023 from SRCC. Wings of Fire has given me this opportunity to sort of guide my college juniors as to what insights I can offer them to crack good placements and what all can they expect from their first job. And as I'm aware, since this will be a first job for all of you, so you'll have certain expectations, and the reality might be a bit different. So, like in this note, I'm just going to elaborate on that, right? So, right now, talking about myself, like I joined SRCC in 2020, and just to briefly talk about my background, so I was also pursuing chartered accountancy, and simultaneously, I wish to pursue for college placements, right? And that's what led me to my placement at Avendus Capital. All right. So Advendus Capital is basically an investment bank which also has its operations in the fields of wealth management, asset management, institutional equities, right? But broad and all, its main arm is the investment banking business. Now, when I talk about the investment banking business, many of you might have apprehensions key if it's a back end role or if it's a middle market role. But let me assure you, Avendus Capital offers a front end investment banking role, right? It is one of the few investment banks in the country which offer the front end investment banking experience, right? Now, talking about the placement procedure at Avendus, generally the company comes on the campus in the months of November or January, right? So for us it was January, and the entire recruitment process is divided into four parts. So the first part is, as you all might know, it's the aptitude test. Basically it's more of a psychometric test so as to evaluate your psychological capabilities, and it's like there's no straitjacket solution to the test. It's just you have to be honest and fair in your assessment, and after you've cracked it, then comes the buddy round. So basically buddy round is nothing but just an informal discussion with a buddy who will be assigned to you by the company. And mind you, this round is eliminative, so you have to have beforehand preparation, and then comes the interview part. So interviews can be anywhere from 2 to 4 rounds. All right. So broadly, this is the recruitment procedure for Avendus, right? And talking about like what helped me in the interview process or the recruitment process in general was, see, if you are applying to a finance company, right? So generally, the placement and the recruitment procedure for finance company versus non-finance company is different, right? So for non-finance, let's say consulting companies, you generally have to go through like a lot of consulting case prep material, or for that matter, like any kind of material, but it is more like intuitive based, and it's more based on your reasoning or rational, right? Finance preparation is a little bit different. It focuses more on your technical skills, right? So in order to hone that, you have to be thorough firstly with the basic concepts in finance. Now when I talk about the basic concepts in finance, I'm not just talking about your simple compound interest or your time value of money, right, or something like that, right? I'm talking about the actual applicable concepts in finance, right? You might have guessed it includes valuation, financial modeling, and what are relative valuation, absolute valuation, right? Whatever the finance news and stock market, anything, right? So you have to be inclined towards that if you want to give this placement opportunity a fair shot, right? So yeah, that is the first prerequisite. And talking about the material, so basically there's a lot of a wide array of content available over the internet. So like I don't have any particular preference, but what I would suggest you to do is ki, there are some good websites. So there are some good websites and newsletters which you guys can subscribe to. So I'll just name a few. So firstly, what I visited was the Wall Street Journal, the WSJ, right, the WSO. So these two are my go-to resources. And apart from that, you also have some certain newsletters, right? So you might have heard of Saraswata Modran, right? So he's like a pinnacle figure whom you can refer to for your understanding of valuation and other basic finance modules. All right. And apart from that, if you want to subscribe to any newsletters, you can always refer to ET, Live Money, Reuters, right? Or like Matt Levine or anyone. All right. Like any bunch of them would go. Right. Matlab, it's just based on your own research and your own likes and dislikes, right? I'm not going to be advocating any particular brand here, right? It's just purely subjective. All right. So having talked about like my own sort of rough journey timeline and the resources, now I would like want to cover key what were my expectations from the placements and how did they actually turn out. Now I know key I haven't spent a considerable time. Like, you have to have at least spent a year or two in order to fully understand the nuances or the fine tunes of your job, right? Because since it's your first job, right? And the transition from campus to corporate can be slightly daunting, especially in a competitive field like investment banking, right? So the thing is ki you have to have certain realistic expectations rather than just assuming ki, it will be something which is straight out of Suits or any other like TV channel for that matter, right? That's like completely bizarre and unrealistic, right? So my expectations from investment banking were like realistically, they were very much aligned with what work I'm doing right now. Right. So just to give you a brief idea of investment banking. So investment banking is generally focusing on three main stages, right? So firstly, investment bank is nothing but a financial institution which helps the companies and the large corporates in their financial and their fundraising matters, to be precise. Right. So, like if I have to talk about the different fundraising processes, so it can be either a private equity investment or it can be an IPO, which is like the ultimate goal for every company. Right. So generally, investment banks focus on this. Apart from that, there is a very lucrative domain in which the investment banks operate, which is the M&A, the mergers and acquisitions segment. Right. So, like over the last 5 to 6 years, India has started seeing a lot of M&A activity. Right, over the years, you see ki, there's a substantial increase in the year-on-year transactions for M&A. Right, so that is a very lucrative field. If you have interest and if you want to aspire to go into M&A or like fundraising for that matter, you like that stuff, right? Then you can definitely give investment banking a shot, right? And yeah, so this is broadly what an investment bank does, and this is what primarily you will be expected to do, and broadly this will be your basically the nuance of your job during your time at Avendus or for that matter any other big investment bank, right? So yeah, so basically this is the sort of realistic expectations you can have from your job. And like talking about the side benefits, so obviously investment banking is a highly paying job, right? You will realize that, but at the same time the long working hours and the high pressure commensurate to that, right? So I mean, if you are someone that wants a work life balance, or you want ki I should have a life outside work or something like that, right? Then I would suggest ki you should also try looking for other fields, right? Because investment banking demands your whole time and energy, right? So in that respect, it's not a viable career option to enter into, right? I'm not discouraging anyone to I'm not refraining anyone from entering into IB, right? It's just that I'm just trying to narrate the reality to you guys, right? Like a typical investment banker's working hours in a week are like they have minimum of 70 to 80 hours work week, right? So when you are at a junior level, generally the working hours are like 60 to 80 hours per week, right? And that is like fair, right? That is the set norm, sort of. In any big investment bank, you will have to have such working hours. And yeah, so that's about it. So I guess I have covered most of the points. So in the end, like I would want to give you some personalized advice of my own. It's not an advice, but it's like sort of a message. I really want to send it to you guys. It's like whenever you guys are preparing for placements or for that matter internships and all that, there will be a lot of pressure on you guys. But there's this one thing which you always have to keep in mind, and like when I mean always, it's always it's just that you have to be consistent in your efforts. That's it. Like you don't need to be consistently performing in terms of results. You always need to be consistently performing in terms of your efforts. Always trust the process, right? And always trust the efforts. That's it. Otherwise, like if you have any particular questions per se, then feel free to contact me. My contact is 7009 186 837. All right. Chalo, cool. Thanks.